All right, everybody, welcome to the channel and another video. I am Misty. This is Dinner on a Dime. And can you believe that it is November of 2025? First of all, and second of all, it is November of 2025 and I am in a sleeveless shirt outdoors. Now, granted, I am in the state of Texas, but it is a little strange to not even have a jacket on. I'm not going to lie. Potentially colder weather coming. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. All right, so we are going to talk today about the top 10 money saving food hacks that I can give you right now in 2025 that are going to help you shop smarter, spend less money, bring home more groceries. Okay, that's the name of the game. And so if you are following along on the channel, which I hope you are, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so you get notified when I post new content. I am really working hard to bring this channel to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And so if you will take the time to do that, that will help me out a lot. Okay, it will help push this video to more people. It will help push the channel to more people, and we can reach even more people to help them save money here in 2025. Okay, so anyways, I hope that you're playing along. That's where that's going, right? All right, so top 10 money saving food hacks for 2025. Number one is we have got to start prioritizing whole food or ingredient based shopping. What does that mean? Okay, a few years ago when I first decided that I was going to start a prepper pantry or a working pantry, right? It looked very different than it does now, because what it looked like is probably what most first time people do is I went out and bought the box of individually bagged chips, and I went to Sam's or Costco, right? And I bought a lot of stuff in big boxes, and it made me feel so good and warm and fuzzy inside because I had all these big, beautiful boxes on my pantry shelves, and I thought, we're really doing the right thing here. And it's cute. When I look back at it, it is really cute, the pictures. But here's the problem. All I was doing was bringing in a ton of junk food into my house. All I was doing was bringing in a ton of stuff that I couldn't make meals with. It was just I call it a beautiful disaster because it looked really nice to look at, but it wasn't serving me any purpose. So I had to shift my thinking into, okay, what would work? What would be helpful here? Having a ingredient based pantry where you have ingredients that you can make lots of different meals with and you can do lots of different things with, that's what you need, because then no matter what it is you want to make, you have what you need to do it. Okay. And if you don't have, like on the rare occasion that you don't have something, you usually have something you can swap for it. Okay. And so I can brag on it all day, but it doesn't really matter what I think of it. Okay. It matters what other people think of it, because am I crazy for doing things this way? No. So I will tell you this. My son loves to just even stand and look in our pantry because he sees so much potential when he goes in there. And when mommy asks him, what do you want for dinner? It's not going to matter what idea he gives me because I'm going to be able to do it. And a lot of people can't do that. Okay. I'm going to be able to make the meal that my family wants to eat. My husband sees the benefit in it now, because when times get tough, like a job loss, or when times get tough, like a supply chain issue and the store doesn't have it, guess what? We are not stressed anymore because we have that security of an ingredient-based pantry that we can turn into lots of different things. My daughter, like, here's the kicker, right? I have a 17-year-old daughter, very judgy, right? Teenage daughters are very judgy. She goes back and forth with it. When she wants a snack, and there's not snacks in the pantry, she will be like, I hate living in an ingredient-based household. Okay. But she also understands the benefits of it, and she actually brags about the benefits of it to other people. Like one day I went into her work and she was actually telling someone in her store all about my channel and was like, Mom, what's the name of your channel? What's the name of your channel? So she definitely sees the benefit of it. And what I love is that my kids see the benefit of what I'm doing, what I've built for our stability. They love going into the store and seeing, okay, what's mom going to do today to save money? How is mom going to utilize these ingredients in our house? And so they have learned, okay, by being with me, that buying whole foods, buying ingredients leads to a lot more possibilities and opportunities and ways to use your food than just bringing home a bunch of pretty boxes from Costco that don't make anything. Okay, so that would be my biggest food hack for you, is bring home ingredients that you can turn into lots of different meals. Don't just bring home pretty boxes that are full of processed crap that you can't make meals out of. Okay, not to say we don't have our fair share of processed crap. Okay, we do. When Little Debbie's are on sale, I buy Little Debbie's and I sneak them into the kids' lunchbox for a fun treat, but that is not the norm in my house. Okay, number 2 is build a freezer and pantry stock up list. So why would I want you to build a list of what you want to stock up on? Why wouldn't you just go out and stock up on it? Well, because you want to stock up on it at a good price. You don't want to go to the store and pay full price in order to stock up on things. So what you need to do is kind of think in your mind, okay, these are the 5 meats I would like to stock up on. These are the 20 pantry staples that I would like to stock up on. Make a list of those items and then go in and price them at your local stores. Okay, see where the price of those items is now so that you understand, okay, if I was going to buy it today, my lowest price point is at Sam's, or my lowest price point is at Target, or my lowest price point is at Brookshire's. Whatever store has your lowest price point, that's what you're going to want to watch, okay? Because then when a store puts it on sale below the normal lowest price that you can find it at, that is what we call the stock up price. Okay, that is when we go to the store and we stock up on that item. Okay, if we have to buy it and it's higher than that price, we're only going to buy the one we need. And usually we're not going to buy one because we're already going to have it on our shelf. But the point here is to know the price point at which you are getting the best deal, so then you can go to the store and you can stock up on it at that price. To give you an example, ground beef. Okay, you used to get ground hamburger for 99 cents at my store while I was an adult. Okay, making me feel old here. Currently, $3.97 a pound is the cheapest I can find ground beef in my area, and that is for what we call the tube meat that you really don't even see, and all of that stuff when you're buying it. Okay, for the fresh ground beef, we are looking at $7.99 plus per pound. Okay, so and I know this because that's on my freezer stock up list, and so what I do is then I watch for when I find it on clearance or a secret sale or something like that below the $3.97 price. That's when I will go buy it. I don't buy it at the $3.97. I wait until I can find it cheaper. So why I said in another video, make like-minded friends who will alert you to good deals, is because before that video that I put out, a friend texted me and was like, hey, do you need ground beef? I was like, if it's a good enough price, I need ground beef. And it was $2.99 a pound at H-E-B. And so that was well below my stock up price, which means I am headed to the store and I am stocking up on that item. Okay, number 3, learn to use smart kitchen appliances. Now, I'm not saying AI-driven kitchen appliances. What I mean is utilize your slow cooker, your air fryer, your Instapot, any of those type of tools that you have available that will help cut your cooking time and your cooking costs. And how do they do that? Well, number 1, they cut your time because usually you are throwing everything in and it is doing all of the work, whether that is slow cooking throughout the day, whether it is an Instapot where it is pressure cooking it pretty quickly, or an air fryer that's crisping and bringing it to temp pretty fast too, right? But it's saving you money because you don't have to worry about that temptation to go out and eat because your meals aren't going to be ready in a short enough period of time. Okay, if I want a roast and potatoes and carrots, if I was just to come home after work and try to put a roast potatoes and carrots in the oven, it's going to take a long time. I'm probably going to be discouraged because I'm going to come home, I'm tired, I don't want to deal with it, and then the next thing I know, I'm in the Jack in the Box drive-thru line because that is faster than dealing with dinner. Okay? use your slow cooker, okay? Put your roast in it with your potatoes and carrots in the morning. Let it cook all day, or however long it needs to cook, right? And then when you get home, dinner's ready. And so you are not tempted to have that additional food cost by saying, screw it, and potentially throwing that roast in the trash, or whatever might happen with it if we don't cook it right then. And you're not spending that additional money to go out to eat. All right, number 4, track your grocery spending and your budget, okay? This is the only way that you're going to know if you're on target, and it's the only way to identify leaks. What do I mean by a leak? Impulse buys? Anybody know anything about impulse buys? So as you identify leaks in your budget, it is important to develop a plan to tackle those right away. Don't allow them to continue to work their way into your spending every week, or the next thing you know, you're going to completely bust your budget, and then you're going to find yourself at the end of the month where you have to make a decision of, do I overspend? Do I pull money from another area, or do I go without? And sometimes that can be very difficult at the end of the month to, maybe you're out of milk and you really need milk, but you've got no money left in your budget. It's going to come down to, okay, do I have the money I can pull from somewhere else? Is milk going on a credit card? What does that look like for your family? Okay, number 5 is a big one. Don't try to do everything right away. What do I mean by that? Don't try to start meal planning, building a grocery list, using AI tools, using smart appliances, changing the way I eat, from the way my house stocks ingredients now to a whole food based or ingredient based pantry. Don't try to do it all at once, because you're going to overwhelm yourself. You're going to shock your system really fast, and then you're going to hit a brick wall with it, and then you're not going to sustain that change. So what should you do? Focus on like 3 things, or focus on 5 things that you want to change, and start slowly building your toolbox, okay? Don't try to conquer everything at once, because you're building skills, okay? And it's going to take a little time to do that. And you can't build all of the skills at once. So maybe the skill you're going to build right now is starting to slowly switch to an ingredient-based pantry. Or the skill you're going to build right now is starting to shop loss leader items in the store. Or the skill you're going to build right now is how to stack coupons. Don't try to do everything at once. It's impossible, because you've got to learn those skills, and they've got to become habits for you. And so just remember, small changes, when they're sustained over time, are going to lead to big savings, okay? You're going to find the big savings rainbow at the end, okay? Just stick with it and don't get overwhelmed by it. Okay, number 6, this is equally important to number 5. Keep your lifestyle in mind when you're developing your plan, okay? What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of people, when they try to start doing all of these things, they don't keep in mind their lifestyle, and if their lifestyle will accommodate the things that they are trying to do. So what do I mean by that? You have to match your available time that you have to your plan. Okay, so your plan can't be a fancy dinner every night of the week if you have kids that need to be at soccer practice, or you need to go to a business meeting, or you are going to have a spouse who's out of town for a week, okay? Your time may be too limited to plan big elaborate meals. So you need to take that into consideration so that you plan accordingly, so that you will stay on track with it, instead of overwhelming yourself when you don't have the time to commit to what you planned to do. Also, look at your level of cooking skills, okay? If you are brand new to cooking, you don't need to try to make a fancy dinner every night. You need to work on building skills with basic meals first before you progress into making a more difficult meal, okay? What can you store? So realistically, like, do you have room to build an elaborate pantry full of ingredients? Or do you really only have this one cupboard that you're working with? Okay, so then we need to scale back the scope of how many things we are trying to, I'll call it, acquire and stock up on, right? And then what is your budget that you have to work with? Okay, so if realistically your budget is only $50 a week, then you realistically only need to try to stock up on maybe one item at a time. And your stock up's going to look a lot different than somebody else's. Their stock up might look like I'm going to buy the maximum of 5. Your stock up might be I'm only going to buy 2 at the sale price, okay? Because you've got to learn to work within the budget that you have. Because if you're busting your budget, it affects a lot of other things in your life, okay? Every time, you guys, every time. It's been quiet all day, every time. All right, number 7, use a recipe generator to build out meal ideas. So what I'm talking about doing here is, do you have several random ingredients that are sitting around the house and you just don't know how you're going to pull a meal out of thin air, trying to mix up utilizing and using there in my head, to use up those ingredients and then cook whatever it is the app suggests, and only modify it. Like if it's calling out, so say it calls for a whole onion, I'm not going to use a whole onion in a recipe, but I will use some minced onion in my recipe because I know that's my family's comfortability with onion. But whatever it suggests, just cook that meal, okay? You've asked it, okay, what can I do with chicken and gnocchi and a half a jar of pesto and 1 clove of garlic and a half a stick of butter, and it spits out a meal that you happen to have the ingredients for. Just make it, okay? Even if you're not sure you're gonna like it, make it, because 9 times out of 10 you're gonna love it because you already had the ingredients for it, okay? Number 8, track all of your food spending in one category. Where a lot of people fail is they will have a grocery budget and they will have a dining out budget. And if they go way over on dining out, they don't care because it's not affecting the grocery budget. You really need to bring all of those food purchases into one budget, because that is going to help you be more mindful of the total cost of your food. When I love to watch YouTube videos where they are explaining to the family, okay, well, here's how much you spend on groceries. And they're like, well, that's really not that bad. And they're like, yeah, but in the last week you spent $480 on takeout on top of the money you spent on groceries. And the family's just blown away because they are not tracking that as part of their grocery budget. And so they were not aware of it. They were not mindful of that spending at all. And then you can learn to be more intentional with that spending, okay? When you bring it all into one budget, it really does help you to stick to the budget more, because you're not as tempted to go out and eat, because you see how much of your budget, your grocery budget, it's going to eat up in order for you to go out and grab that quick meal out, okay? Number 9 is develop a new mindset, okay? You have to kind of pick a mentality here, and you have to start developing it, and you have to start rolling with it. And that can be a mentality of, I'm going to do pantry challenges. Once a month, I'm going to do a pantry challenge for a week. That is a mindset and a habit that you have to develop and get into. Or perhaps it's going to be that I am going to budget challenge for the year. So I'm going to set a very strict grocery budget of no more than $400 per month. And then you have to develop the mindset and you have to stick to it for that entire year. Maybe it's, I'm going to do more clearance shopping. So I want the bulk of my purchases in category X, Y, and Z to be things that are on clearance or loss leaders. That is a mindset, and it is something you have to develop over time, and then it becomes second nature to do it. Maybe it's going to be I'm going to shop what I already have in my house mentality. That is where I need to be more than I am. I am still kind of sticking myself in a stock up mentality where I really need to shift into a utilizing what I have mentality, because I've built that really good working pantry and I need to put that pantry to work more for my family and worry less about stocking up on other items. But what this allows you to do is, once you choose what your mentality is going to be, you develop that mentality, you build your skill set in that way of thinking, and you put it into practice. It's going to save you a lot of money over time. Okay. And then number 10, y'all are going to hate me for it, but number 10, you've got to check what you have before you go shopping, and you have to shop with a list. Okay. Not knowing what you need is a budget killer. Okay, it is, because you go into the store and you think you're picking up the things you need, and then you get home and you realize you still don't have the things you need for these 3 meals. Or, well, I stocked up on a lot of snacks or a lot of sodas or whatever the case may be that weren't even on my list. But even if you're not going to make a meal plan, okay? Even if you're not going to make a meal plan, which I highly advise that you do, you need to at least see what you have on hand and then make a list of what you need from the store. You don't have to necessarily plan out your meals, but as you're going around and you're looking at your pantry, fridge, and freezer, you can at least be thinking in your mind, okay, I have pork chops. I like corn on the cob when I have pork chops. Okay, corn on the cob goes on the list because I don't have it. Or I really prefer to have mashed potatoes when I make grilled chicken. I've got the stuff to make grilled chicken. I've got butter. I've got milk. Okay, I'm going to put potatoes on the list so I can make my mashed potatoes. So you're going to have to start shifting your thinking to checking with what you have and then developing a list before you go to the store. And you can hate me on that one all you want. But meal planning and knowing what you need and then hitting the store is your biggest way to save money. Behind clearance shopping, I think. I think those 50% off stickers are a pretty great way to do it myself. But anyways, there you go. 10 more money-saving food hacks for you here in 2025. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.